Something happened this morning that made me to realize that we are the miracle of life, miracle of nature, as it is. And this may sound very crazy, but I want to get to that craziness, what I think is marvelous, by first talking about my Vipassana experience and lead to that kind of a conclusion. It was 23, 24 years ago when I went to the first Vipassana meditation. On the 8th day, I had this awakening experience, which followed the very severe pain, and I couldn't do anything about it but determined to go through it. I questioned, is it because I'm trying to escape from the pain, I have this pain? When I thought about it in such a manner, something happened, and if I may call it as explosion, the whole thing changed, and there was no more pain, and I had a smile. I couldn't understand, and it took years to sort things out. And I read and went through lots of reading and talking, a bunch of people about the Zen, Shin Buddhism, Christianity, and so forth, along with more meditations, like 12 times 10-day meditation. So I came to realize that the simple equation, if you want to call it, is if you do the right thing, right conduct, and you have a calm and quiet mind, samadhi, no thinking, no self, then you may have awakening, enlightenment, whatever you call it. To me, that's not done by the mind. It's from the heart, I call it, or the law of the universe. And that's how I concluded. And the other equation I thought is that my life story is to ask myself who I am. And I get to the point of thy will be done is the response to that question, who I am. Thy will, God's will, or I generally like to call the law of nature, is manifesting to make us live our life as well as to go through difficulties with creative solution, wisdom, and compassion. So that's a simple conclusion after 40 years, 45 years, and after that awakening, another 25 years. And I've been talking in my videos about how I live and go through ups and downs as a human being. The line I often use is, use the brain but to listen to the heart. Use the brain but at the same time listen to the heart. That's what the Dalai Lama had put in the foreword to my book, Results from the Heart. So you use the brain, listen to it. You can go back and forth, but that's actually not good enough because you have two dimensions in your constitute that you use your brain and forget about your heart, or you may listen to your heart and be in the zone. But when something happens and the mind is confused, you cannot listen anymore. So the process is such that you have to have that gap closed. So you use the brain, but at the same time, listen to your heart. So let me talk about this example of this morning, what happened. I was not positioned with the right posture. So the posture is important. I'm not good at it. I had lots of fun things to put into the YouTube. I was remembering some of the stories of Nakayama-san, my mentor, and other stuff. But anyway, when I was doing it, because I usually go out, exercise, Tai Chi, and so forth, but this thought was interesting. So I deviated from my regular routine that I was playing with this YouTube thing. And when I twisted my body, something happened and I had this severe pain in the back. So I couldn't move. My cousin, I asked her to help me because we planned to do something, but he helped me to get stuff drinking and some food. And when I was talking with her, how painful, and I cannot move, I felt like vomiting. So in front of her, I vomited. I said, I feel like vomiting, and she brought something and I vomited. There's nothing up but like water because I didn't have any food. And then she left. But at the time when I was vomiting, right after that, I felt like something got released. So I told her, I don't have pain. But I didn't believe it. So she left, and I was checking carefully if I really have gone through the pain, and now it's no pain. So what happened to that point, to make sure first, is that when I was in the pain, I experimented in a way, as inquisitive as I am. So I used my brain. It was something I know from whatever I've done 45 years. I know something about Shila Samadhi Panya. If you have the right conduct and have a calm quiet mind, the wisdom or relief from the pain may come. That's Buddha's teaching in a way. Or you can call it Christianity if you believe in Christianity, or Shin Buddhism. I mean, the Buddha, you may go to heaven, relieved from the pain. Either case, my Vipassana experience was still strong, so I went into Samadhi in the pain, accepting everything as it is. And it's painful to accept. But knowing that I didn't escape from the pain in Vipassana to get the awakening, again, it was not easy, but I stayed there. And what I did, I do remember, in the pain that I had at the time, was to not move and pay attention to the inner body sensation. I did the breathing with my belly, and when you do that, you see the muscle tone changes in the abdomen area. And you can also look into, or in your image, fingers, toe, leg, belly, inner body sensation, what's going on. So that's what you do in Vipassana, kind of like a scanning all the element of your body, inner body. And that's the tying to the Kegon idea, which I'm not going to go into detail, but the whole point is that we are just a composure of those neurons and electrons and particles connecting to each other to make us alive. And that's the nature's way, or you can call it God way. So without the mind to escape, because there's a saying, Zen saying, you can bound yourself up by your own rope, or something like that. Without rope, you bound yourself up, which is basically to say your mind is the cause of trouble because you're trying this and that, trying to escape from the pain. That tightened the pain. That's the story. So I know that. I've gone through it. I even had the awakening. But here's another case of the pain, and it was painful. I've gone through some of those back pain. The last one was 4 or 5 years ago, and that lasted 2 weeks or so. And before that, I had few occasions, usually 1 week or 2 weeks. And it's a painful process. And I was not happy about that, just imagining it. But then I kept my mind shut up, sort of, to get into the zone or samadhi, to just close my eyes, check the sensation in my finger or chest, abdomen, and the pain area, leg, back and forth, scanning, just as I did in Vipassana. Knowing that I succeeded and have that relief from the pain in my awakening, I was hoping, but you are not to hope. If you seek for it, your mind is still working. accept everything as it is. That's what I did. And I could do it, but the pain comes back. And you have to go back doing it. And back and forth, back and forth. But I had some moment of what I call transparency, that my whole body is calm. But the pain still come back. So anyway, my cousin came. We planned to go somewhere for shopping. And I said, I can't. So she brought the food and along with it, water and stuff. And then, like I said, I vomited because as I talked to her about this, something I felt in my body. Maybe that's the symptom of the body responding to my scanning, inner body sensation. There's a time lag, but I sensed that because I felt something on the same side, right side, and the vomiting sense was coming up. And then asked her to bring something, and I vomited in front of her. It was like a water, nothing in there. And I felt really good, to the point that, where's my pain? So if I retrospectively explain, because when you're in it, it's not going to be easy, you're just in the moment, but what may have happened is that you accepted everything. I accepted with no mind, no self, no ego, scanning, observing everything as it is. God help me, I didn't ask for God. I let things happen, it's nature's way. On its own, by itself, it can create the miracle of us to come to this world from the dust of the universe, and we are alive. So that's what in Zen saying, point that meet the true self before your parents are born. So I felt Vipassana experience was meeting that. And in this case too, I'm meeting. I thought I was meeting, but I shouldn't exist. So I become thy will. Know thyself at the deepest end. You get to the point of meeting, you can say God, or yourself, true self, or nature's way, law of nature. And what there is nothing, just that sense of what's going on. And the vomit happened, things came out, and I felt good. And she left. Gradually and carefully I start to move, realize that I can even stand up. Everything's sort of okay. It took probably 1 hour or more to make sure that things are almost normal. Because in my previous back pain that I had, took 2 weeks, week and a half, something like that. It was very painful. And this is the opposite of it. Wow. So previous ones, I couldn't get out for a week and a half or something. That's within that 24 years between my first Vipassana experience and awakening, I call it, and the current situation. So in those few cases, I couldn't do what I did do in this case, and it didn't work. So, but it worked over a week and a half period that I get much better. But in this case, whatever the case is, the nature took care of it. And then gradually, I even did the regular routine. I can post it, that I have 12 minutes routine of Tai Chi, yoga, and some resistance exercise. I had this stuff around my waist because my cousin said I should wear it. But half of it, I thought I'll take it out, and kept on going into yoga, all the bending and stretching, and I could do it. And I was still concerned a bit, but I had some faith that it may be working, or it was working, and then resistance exercise, even the push-up 15 times or 16 times this time. And I confirmed that I'm back in a good shape. So what's the story? There's a healing power, there's a miracle power of nature or God, whatever the term, for us to go through the pain, to come out. You are okay as you are. Somewhere else, I said, pain is necessary for us to live. Or you can replace it that pain is necessary to know who you are and meet thy will. It may not happen automatically, but those are the typical explanation. In one of the videos, it reminded me of Krishnamurti's saying about the choiceless awareness or choiceless observation, I call it. The same as the samadhi state. No ego, no self, no thinking, no mind. Just awareness, choiceless, accepting everything as it is. And the miracle happens in the sense of cure, or some possibly from the cancer or the back pain, or solving the problem, like Einstein, I mentioned in a few other videos about his quotes indicate he was into it in samadhi. His word, I remember one of them is that he appreciates the imagination. And the imagination, in my view of what he may mean, is that he's free from mind, but drifting in the state of samadhi, opening up the possibility. So the story of imagination is not his own, but coming from unconscious part of it. Like Jung talk about, be conscious of unconscious. Or there's a Japanese saying about the Zen is about being conscious of unconscious. And it also said there's a teaching without words. So it's the pointing the moon with the finger. We're not supposed to check the finger, but observe the moon, choiceless, samadhi, be in the moment, be as it is, be with the pain, oneness, non-duality. All these words may sound bullshit. It's rightfully so in your mind, but it may not be with experience. So that's why some call experiential wisdom, not the book knowledge, beyond the knowledge, to realize the law of nature manifesting in us, to be alive, to go through pain as a nature's way, and be awakened as a nature's way. So that's the story this morning. I'm living a life like in a journey. Those tricky situation pops up right and left. And I get slipped and go into it. May take time and energy to come out of it. Yes, it does. But it may not be as bad once you start to know what the game is, how the game is played, who made the game. If it's God or the law of nature, whatever you want to call it, and we are the one to see how we play the game with understanding of what the game is and find happiness in the process. Everything is impermanent. One realization awakening may not equate to another awakening. Your mind may get into the way, your ego and self and the habitual pattern may get into the way, but that's part of the game. We can learn and grow and share the process and make the most of it. Thank you.